Welcome to Adult ypww Lesson 10. I do not own the rights to this music. Today's topic is Mary Magdalene from Delivered to Disciple. The lesson text is coming out of Luke chapter 8, verse 2, John chapter 20, verses 16 through 18. The memory verse. I will read the King James Version first and then the New Living Translation of Luke chapter 8, verse 2. And certain women which had been healed of evil spirits and infirmities, Mary called Magdalene, out of whom went 7 devils. The New Living Translation of Luke chapter 8, verse 2. Along with some women who had been cured of evil spirits and diseases. Among them were Mary Magdalene, from whom he had cast out 7 demons. The introduction. Mary Magdalene is one of the most misunderstood figures in the Gospels. Yet she stands among the most devoted followers of Jesus. Over time, tradition and speculation have clouded her story, often defining her by rumor rather than scripture. The Bible record, however, is clear and dignified. Mary Magdalene is introduced not as immoral or unstable, but as a woman who experienced profound deliverance and responded with unwavering loyalty. Luke chapter 8 verse 2 tells us that Mary had been delivered from 7 demons. The number 7 suggests completeness, indicating that her bondage was deep and consuming. Whatever once controlled her life, torment, affliction, oppression, or despair, had left her powerless. Yet when deliverance came, it did not merely free her from darkness, it repositioned her for purpose. Mary's story challenges the assumption that freedom is the final goal. God does not deliver people simply to relieve them. He delivers them to restore them, include them, and send them. This lesson traces Mary's journey from deliverance to discipleship, revealing how a woman once bound becomes a trusted follower and the first witness of the resurrection. Her life declares that those who are delivered deeply often love fiercely and serve faithfully. The discussion. Mary Magdalene's story begins with a life-altering encounter with Jesus Christ, who delivers her from 7 demons, as recorded in Luke chapter 8, verse 2. This detail is brief but weighty. The reference to 7 demons suggests a complete and consuming bondage, not a minor affliction. Whatever had overtaken Mary's life, whether spiritual torment, emotional oppression, or social isolation, had dominated her fully. Her freedom did not come through gradual improvement or personal effort, but through decisive intervention. Jesus steps into what had authority over her and replaces it with his own. This establishes an essential truth. Mary's story begins not with self-reformation, but with grace. What often goes unnoticed is what happens after her deliverance. Mary is not healed and sent away. She is healed and welcomed in. Luke places her among the women who traveled with Jesus and supported his ministry. This is significant because it reveals that deliverance was not the end of her story, but the beginning of her discipleship. Mary does not return to her former life or seek distance from her past. She chooses proximity to the one who freed her. Gratitude becomes the soil in which her devotion grows. Deliverance produces attachment, not independence. Mary's discipleship is characterized by consistent presence rather than public prominence. She follows Jesus through ordinary days and difficult seasons, listening, serving, and remaining faithful long before her role is highlighted in Scripture. Many people encountered Jesus and received healing, but few stayed. Mary stayed. Her faith was not transactional, it was relational. She did not follow Jesus for what she could get from him, but because of who he had become to her. Deliverance redirected her life rather than defining it. Her loyalty becomes unmistakable when the narrative turns towards suffering. As opposition intensifies and Jesus is arrested and crucified, many disciples scatter. Mary does not. She remains near the cross, standing in the place of pain and apparent defeat. This is a form of faith that is rarely celebrated. faith that stays when nothing makes sense and hope appears to be dying. Mary does not understand what God is doing, but she refuses to abandon the one who delivered her. Her commitment is rooted not in outcomes, but in relationship. Mary's devotion continues beyond the crucifixion. Early on the first day of the week, she goes to the tomb. She does not go expecting resurrection. She goes expecting grief. Her presence is an act of love, not anticipation. When she finds the tomb empty, confusion overwhelms her. She weeps, assuming loss rather than victory. Even the appearance of angels does not immediately change her understanding. This moment reveals an important truth. Spiritual encounters do not erase emotional pain. Mary's tears do not disqualify her from revelation. They position her to receive it. The turning point comes when Jesus speaks her name, Mary. Recognition happens through relationship, not sight. She knows his voice before she understands the miracle. Resurrection is revealed to her resurrection is revealed to her personally before it is proclaimed publicly. The voice that once delivered her now calls her into clarity. In that moment, grief gives way to understanding and confusion yields to recognition. Jesus then entrusts Mary with the message. He sends her to tell the disciples that he has risen. This moment is extraordinary. In a culture where women's testimony carried little authority, Jesus intentionally chooses Mary Magdalene to be the first witness and messenger of the resurrection. The woman once known for her bondage is now trusted with the greatest truth of the gospel. Her identity is fully rewritten. She is no longer defined by what once bound her, but by the truth she carries. Mary's story reveals a complete arc from deliverance to devotion, from devotion to discipleship, and from discipleship to commission. She shows us that freedom is not merely about being released from what held us, but about being entrusted with purpose. Her life stands as testimony that those who have been delivered deeply often carry truth faithfully because they know what it means to be raised from darkness into light. The application: Mary Magdalene's life confronts the misconception that deliverance is the destination. Deliverance is the doorway, not the finish line. God frees people not only to remove bondage, but to release purpose. Mary teaches us that those who have been delivered deeply are often entrusted greatly. Her story also challenges believers to examine the nature of their devotion. Do we follow Jesus only when outcomes are favorable, or do we remain when faith becomes costly? Mary stayed at the cross, in the silence, and at the tomb. True discipleship persists even when God seems quiet. Mary's transformation shows that spiritual power is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it is expressed through faithful presence, steady commitment, and unwavering love. Deliverance is not proven by volume, but by loyalty. Mary's past did not disqualify her. It prepared her to testify with depth and authority. This lesson invites personal reflection. Has deliverance in your life produced devotion? Do you remain when others retreat? Are you willing to carry truth even when your story has been misunderstood or minimized? The discussion. Mary Magdalene's journey from delivered to disciple reveals the heart of God toward those once bound by darkness. Jesus did not free her and forget her. He restored her dignity, welcomed her into community, and entrusted her with resurrection truth. What once held her captive became the testimony that propelled her forward. Mary stands as living proof that God does not merely break chains, He builds callings. Deliverance is not the end of the story, it is the foundation upon which discipleship is built. Those who have been freed are often the ones God sends in the end. Mary Magdalene reminds us that resurrection truth is best carried by those who know what it means to be raised from darkness into light. When Jesus calls our name, He invites us not only into freedom, but into purpose. The questions for today's lesson. Number 1. How does Mary Magdalene's story challenge common assumptions about people who have experienced deep deliverance? Number 2. Why do you think Mary remained when others fled, even when hope seemed lost? Number 3. What does it mean that Jesus entrusted resurrection news to Mary first? Number 4. How can deliverance in our lives become fuel for deeper discipleship? And number 5. In what ways might God be calling you from freedom into faithful purpose? The end. God bless you and thank you for joining me today.